So this is like the 10th time I'm trying to record this. Um, that last two times before this, I had recorded a full 16 minutes worth of content or audio talking about like my projects going into 2026 and understanding or not understanding but really talking about some of the reflections I've had over my work for the past year. And then I realized that a lot of the audio that was recorded has a lot of the mic stand being moved, so you can hear like a that. Um. So yeah, here we are again. Sorry. This one's probably gonna be more casual. I'm kind of exhausted from just recording that, and then also throughout the day, just been doing stuff. Uh. So yeah, the reflections of my work for the past year. Over the past year, if I remember correctly, it was 2025. Yeah, 2025, early 2025 is when. No, that was late 2024. Crucible and Moored, my first work was published. But through that process, in between that and then current project that I'm working on, I got into the rhythm of working on written works consistently daily, doing roughly about 3 to 2 pages a day. There was a project I did called. I didn't upload it or anything like that. I'm not gonna upload it because of the what's the word I'm looking for? What is the word I'm looking for? The not the quality, but the premise and the content of the project. The content of the project. Sorry, that took me forever to say. The content of the project itself is not really fitting for not only YouTube but just in general consumption. It was a western that was kind of based off Blood Meridian. That I think just saying that kind of gives you the whole perspective of why. But it that it like if you're interested in that, I'm telling you right now, there's nothing to really be a whole lot of interested in because the reason I even started that project and why I'm even bringing it up now is because that was something for like about 2 or 3 months I was consistently and diligently working on. But when going back into reading it, the sentence structure, the grammar, the pacing, all of that was not good at all. It's about 4 or 5 chapters of just terrible pacing, terrible writing, and I mean like it was like as if like I was drunk talking. That's what was written down, like a drunk spew. Things didn't make any sense. Plot lines were never really expressed. They were just repeated over and over again. I kept telling you the same stuff over and over. But the important part about that whole process, why I'm even sharing it in this to this extent, is that that is what got me into the rhythm that I needed to write. It's what prove it gave me proof um, that was something I could do. It gave me proof that being a writer is something that I'm capable of doing. Not in terms of like the quality, because that was bad, but in terms of consistency, it was something that I knew that no matter where I was in life, no matter what position I was in, that if I wanted to, I could sit down and just type. It got me over that hurdle because that's one of the biggest things I always had a problem with was writing something down. And I feel like a lot. Excuse me. Excuse me. I feel like a lot of people, a lot of writers have that same problem where they they when they starting out, they're trying to figure out what to write and how to write it. And the important part is just writing. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be published. It doesn't have to be for everybody. You don't have to share it. It can just be a long string of the same word over and over again, as long as you sit there and you write. And that's what I built. So that was like the first thing going in 2025, late 2024, that I was building up. The what was the second thing? We Me and my friends, we play a lot of D&D. We play a lot of well, we played a lot of D&D. We since changed uh our our main stuff that we do. But we played a lot of D&D over the past 5 years. Um a lot of them were homebrews. I had a friend We did a Demon Slayer based one. I think that might have been the only anime one we did. Yeah, we did a Demon Slayer based one, and then there's like a few custom ones we did. But through that, in terms of writing, because we're talking about this topic, uh, I've learned two things. One, role playing is a very key component of the D&D process, which might not sound all that all that surprising if you played D&D before, but it is something that is very key to character development, how you process your character, even in homebrew games. Um, how the DM is supposed to react, or how to DM a campaign based off of that. Because if the DM himself or the GM himself um, are not willing to roleplay for the players, then the game itself is pointless. So that was the first thing I realized. And then two was that um, I am really good at playing characters. And that might seem like a little ego lift, but when given the opportunity, because I was reflecting on a few campaigns I was part of, when given the opportunity, when the role playing was a very crucial part, it wasn't just like a bunch of friends experiencing something, it was us playing characters and getting into roles. I was one of the ones, I wasn't the only one, but I was one of the ones that always played their character role. I mean, I always did wacky stuff, but I was always in character. And the character, at least for me, it always felt good when I was playing that character, and it always felt as if my performance was uh uh on scene. It was fitting for the setting. Now, the reason I bring that up is because that has helped me when it comes to writing. Truthfully, I feel like a lot of people we play when we, not play, but when we write, we try to write from perspectives that we don't have ourselves, or we haven't necessarily experienced, or we write in the form of documentation with characters. And that's actually the most important part that I want to talk about, is that a lot of writers write from documentation standpoints and don't even realize that that's what they're doing. They're documenting the character's events rather than expressing those characters' events through the character. And that's something that I realized that I was doing on a previous work. That's something I realized that I was doing on my most recent work that I stopped, and that, well, at least I haven't stopped, but I've clarified what was the main focus of doing that, and also whether or not I should be doing that in certain instances, in certain cases. And doing that has made my dialogue far more sharp. Has made it 10 times sharper and more personal to me. And that's the next thing I want to talk about right there, is through like what I've learned from writing up until 2026, or going into this next year, is that dialogue, or these characters in my work in general, are all reflections of me. With the latest work I'm doing right now, I'm sorry, I feel like I messed up there. Um, the entire project is about two hyper depictions of me and their identity crises. One character is known as a successful individual, while the other one is um, a serial killer that is pretty much jaded and lacks a sense of pleasure or desire within life. Um, the first character, the character that's successful, views himself as a slob, as a disappointment, as nothing special, and that's where his identity crisis comes in. The second character, who's actually the protagonist, they don't view themselves as anything other than what they're like, a tool for a while. But it's through these conversations that they realize that they are capable of experiencing feelings and emotions and sensations that they thought were foreign or absent from them. At the beginning of their whole interaction, the two characters, well, the main character, the one that's a serial killer, he he hates the other character, finds him to be a brat, very lacks the not very, but he lacked that the character lacks gratitude or appreciation for how lucky he is. But it's over the course of the conversation that he realized that none of those things that he thought that the character was taken for granted were really important, and that it's truly the character's ability to express himself that makes him appealing. That is like that gives the character substance. The money and the profit and stuff like that doesn't give or provide pleasures to the secondary character, and the first character is the protagonist is realizing that. He throughout the course of the conversation, he realizes his humanity through him, and as the book is coming to a close, or the story is coming to a close, it becomes a battle between whether or not he acts upon his nature or tries to fight against it to become something more. I haven't decided what I'm going to do for the end, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, overall, I feel like I rambled here enough. But overall, going into next year, I definitely want to start producing more creative works. I'm already thinking about what I want to do for my next project. I can't really make a whole lot of promises for this. I'm already disappointed in myself that it took me 2 weeks to do this. All right, yeah, sorry for that cut. Um, yeah, I can't make a whole lot of promises. I'm already disappointed in myself from how long it took me to get to this point. But this is something that I do want to do. This is something that I have a strong desire for, and I will try to produce more content on a more consistent basis. As of lately, I've been watching this YouTube channel called the Tyler James Podcast. I think that's right. I'll leave a link in the description below. They're very, very small, but he has a consistent stream that I'm very, I don't want to say envious of, but I admire. And that's something that I want to replicate in my own work. And I don't mean that just for the sake of just like getting my work out there or becoming some type of YouTube sensation or anything like that. But I mean that in terms of like, I want to be able to express myself in those ways and that consistency with that flow that he's able to do. And I'm capable of doing that. It's just that it's not, I haven't had, or at least I haven't taken advantage of the opportunities that I've had within my life to do that, to get to that point to where that's a consistent form for me now. There are moments when I'm able to do it, but it's just, you get it. I wanna be able to do that more, and that's what this YouTube channel is going to help me do. So yeah, without any further ado, thank you for watching the video. I'll try to have something interesting in the background, maybe some gameplay, or it might just be another still image. Sorry if that bothers you. But yeah, do great things. Yeah, thank you for watching.